they're going to be thinking about how they're going to use being in shape. Can you remember a time when it was one of the most powerful future-facing questions that there are? Can you remember a time when you were happy? Can you remember a time when you specifically were happy now? So in order to think about a time when you were happy, you have to put yourself emotionally back there for a quadrisecond, and then experience that emotion again for a quadrisecond, and there you have an anchor. So that's a quick teardrop of future pacing. So new. You need to keep it fresh, but you need to use the base. And my idea of personal training, especially with a new client, you need to do things that you're good at, that you know very well, but you also need to keep what you're doing fresh, and you need to experiment with new things. Some of you just went through kettlebell recertification. It's a good thing to experiment with what you're doing outside of the personal train session and bring it within that personal train. You ever used a kettlebell? Do you want to see how to swing a kettlebell? Do you want to learn a little bit more about kettlebell? I can show you a few things about kettlebell. That's something to throw in to keep it fresh, and then it can become something that's your base, and you're constantly reinventing what that session is. I know when I send someone to an instructor, I know what they're going to do. Like, for instance, if I give them to Mike McLaughlin, I know he's going to keep a fresh session. He's going to know where they are, and he's going to start where they are, but he's going to use a base of training exercises that he'll use with a lot of different clients, okay? Use their name. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Attention is a big one. This used to be more so a problem than it is now, but make sure that you're focusing on the client. Don't use your cell phone. Don't generally engage other instructors. Hey, Jason, how you doing? That's great. But Jason, what happened with your dog? Man, I heard he's sick. What's going on with that? Did it work out? Or
Jason, your dog's sick?
That's not cool, because then you're getting in a conversation. The whole thing becomes about Jason, and the focus is not on the client. Make sure that other people don't interrupt your session. Kat or I come down, hey Jason, can you take a 6 o'clock tomorrow morning and drive in the middle of a deadlift or something? It's not good. We won't do it. Chances are, it won't happen.
Well, Todd never does it. Todd never does it.
But if other people, it's your environment, you control it. Like small.
Like in the middle of a small ball game?
Just stop it there. Okay. All right. So the way that I kind of encapsulate this very important module right here about attention is dance with a girl who brung you. So what my philosophy there is, if you go to a dance with a girl, you don't leave that girl in the corner because there's a better looking girl there. You don't leave with a better looking girl. You dance with the girl who brought you. You dance with the girl, you leave with the girl, you take care of the girl. That's your girl. And these clients, when these prospects walk in, they're your girl. Make sure you're focusing on them. You're not focusing on something else, like what time it is, or when your next client is, or if you're going to eat, or whatever bullshit you got going on. It's all about them, okay? Last thing is, right before we get into the final segment, is logging. This is something fairly new. How many of you log after a training, a personal training with a new client? Never. Good. Well, you've done with a new client.
Repeat that again?
Repeat that.
How many of you log in after a new client, write down anything about an email back to info Platoon Fitness or forward to Platoon Fitness? This is what happened in this session. This is what I think about the client. This is where I would go with this client. So this is something that's rare. I want to see this happening a lot more. It's very important to log what happens in that session. It doesn't have to be every detail. It can be a 30-second highlight. It's really about impressions and recommendations. I don't really see this person continuing. I don't think that they have the funds or the time or the attitude to do it. Or this person has a lot to gain from this. They want to go 2 or 3 times a week. They talk about Tuesday, Thursdays at 9:30. I recommend that they do 2 to 3 days a week, along with homework in the outdoor. I don't recommend they do the outdoor because they hate the cold, so don't talk about that with them. They've had a bad experience with it. Whatever that is, when Pat and Jamie and I, and whoever's calling them back and following up when you're done, you may not know this, but as soon as that training's done, we check it out, an automatic email goes out to them. Janae, how was that session that you had today? What did you think of it? And we ask them for explicit and detailed feedback, and we get a lot of it. After that, we call them, Janae, how was your session with Victoria today? Well, it was great. I enjoyed it. I want to come back Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30. Let's see what you have available, and it flows from there. These logs make it possible for us to talk to the person like a knowledgeable person who's in your session, knows what was going on, and we give a shit about their outcomes. Okay. So 30-second highlight impressions and recommendations. And you might have noticed I put up here, ask for referrals. Some time opened up in my schedule who do you know that might like to try this on me? Okay? Jenny, is there anyone you know who might want to train me? I have some time in my schedule. So what do you might want to come here? Be on me. Yeah. So I get the person's name, get their number, I give her a gift certificate, something close there. There's an actionable item. Now we had one trainer who was the king of action on this. Every client he had, he asked him every session, is there someone you can refer to me? Is there someone you can refer to me? He built a book on that in no time. I mean, he killed a book on that in no time. On one question. If you don't ask the question, it's always no. Okay? So ask the question, is there someone that you know that might want to train? It's on me. If they want to try a session with me, I'll give them a gift certificate. We have nice gift certificates. We'll give them a gift card. I'll write them a letter. I'll go to the house and pick them up. You know what I'm saying? We really want you to ask for referrals. If you feel comfortable doing it, do it now. If you don't, talk to me about it. And I'll give you some reference points so you can feel more comfortable about it. Because it's an important part of our business and it's an important part of building your growth. Who wants more clients? Who wants more clients? That's the number one way to get it right there. Ask for referrals. It's the number one way to build your book. Now, what are the benefits of personal training? Name one benefit of personal training.
Meeting your goals.
Health.
Any benefit of any training. Health, right? A couple that I wrote down for me personally, and the things that I think about when I think about benefits are weight loss, strength. I'm happier when I train. I have more energy. I think I'm nicer to my children and my spouse because I get some of the anxiety and some of the extra energy out of me. I tend to play with my kids more often. I tend to play with my kids a little better because I can move around a little better. I'm not an old man stiff and can't get down on the ground a little. I'm a better example to others, kids, my spouse. Kim now is on the nutrition plan, and I'm going to tell you about that. I think that it makes me emotionally calmer, more centered when I train. I live more in the now. I treat others better. I think that it's a stress-reducing technique. It gives me less anxiety, and I think I'm less prone to get hurt. If I'm walking down the stairs and I happen to trip, I tend to catch myself a little better. It's kind of hard to explain. And I made a list much longer than this, but what this comes down to and what it is, and to kind of close out this segment entirely, what we do as instructors, what we do in personal training for an hour, half hours, we take a moment in time and we help people get healthy. We help them mentally, emotionally, socially, financially, in every way possible. This personal training benefits them in ways that you may never experience. You may not know all the ways that you've touched life. I guarantee you if you asked Ryan, who's Ryan? I guarantee if you asked Ryan before I just listed all this shit, to list all the things that all the benefits I got out of the training, he wouldn't have listed half of these. Because he doesn't know that when I go home now I play better with my kids because I'm less stressed, or he doesn't know what I'm doing differently because of these things. You know what I mean? So think about you're helping your client in so many ways, and this benefits. It's a stone that's dropped in a pond, and the ripple effects from that stone are unknown and unknowable. How many positive things can come out of this is unknown and unknowable. And I think that we're very fortunate, and we should feel very grateful for what we do because of that. Because I feel it's a very important job. I think that it is one of the most important jobs out there. Are there any questions on personal touch? Is there anyone on the line? Steve?